Hi, I'm Perry Atkinson, General Manager here at theDove. Hey, check out our other videos and check out our website at theDove.us. Welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson, and delighted to have with us a special gentleman today, Josh Bernstein. He is a radio talk show host, one of our own. We like radio talk show hosts. Spokesman, he's a strategist, he's a writer, but he's very proud to be also the official spokesperson for the Association of Mature American Citizens, better known as AMAC, the legitimate alternative to AARP. I know thousands of people are dropping their AARP membership and going to AMAC, and that's a good thing. Hi, Josh. Good to see you, friend.
Great to be back with you.
Well, first of all, tell us about AMAC.
AMAC, again, as you said and pointed out, it's a wonderful organization, is the conservative alternative to groups like AARP. We put our members first, and anytime that we do something on behalf of Washington as far as lobbying and what have you, we make sure that it is for limited government, more choice in health care for seniors, they have better decisions, and that everything that we do is to make sure that the government is not the one that's dictating to seniors what they're going to do with their own bodies and their own health care. So I'm very, very proud to be part of AMAC and to be able to represent them.
And let me say to our viewers and listeners, you can go to AMAC, AMAC.us. That's the official website, AMAC.us, and you can get more information. And really, I get this question a lot, Josh. A lot of folks will ask me about AARP. I have a real short answer: get out. It's become a political arm of the left, as far as I'm concerned, and I send people over to AMAC, AMAC.us. Well, good to see you. We wanted to talk a little bit about a couple of subjects, and that the whole issue of racism and inequality. I'm sure you're talking about it on your talk show. Are you feeling now that we're back to the 60s with this racism issue?
Well, I think what's going on right now is just unbelievable. I mean, we are having mayors of large Democratic cities literally sanctioning violence, giving people, quote unquote, space to destroy. And it's unbelievable to think that they've allowed this to happen. We've got police arrests going way, way down because they're afraid of the consequences of doing their job. We've got violence on the streets. We've got murder and mayhem way up in all the big cities. And when you look at all these big cities and you look at Missouri and you look at Ohio and Cleveland, and you look at Baltimore, and you look at Detroit, these are all cities that have been run and operated under liberal policies and by Democrats for some as many as 50 to 60 years. I mean, Detroit, for instance, has not had a Republican governor for 7 terms straight in a row. So the folks have to start thinking to themselves, it's not the police, it's not the Republicans, it's not the war on poverty, it's not the $22 trillion thrown at helping these people. They've got to look internally at themselves and realize that maybe what they're doing, what they're voting for, and who they want to represent them is not the right answer, and there is an alternative.
I was shocked to hear not only what happened in these various cities that you mentioned, but the leadership of those communities say, oh, well, it's only a few businesses that were destroyed and we're able to bring it to a calm. I mean, breaking the law is breaking the law. At what point do we have no law?
Exactly. And I believe right now it's just anarchy and chaos. And it's unfortunate that, the police are taking the brunt of this. You've got all these slogans, hands up, don't shoot, and Black Lives Matter and things like that. But I say, what about police lives matter? They're targeting police. They're coming after police. And now that the 7-year-old kids are being shot, mothers that were, just got married in Baltimore just were shot and killed. And now they're saying, oh, well, maybe it's a good idea to bring the police back in. You can't have it both ways. And the police are not the bad guys here, okay? It's the policies, it's the procedures, it's liberalism, it's this latent despair and disdain, and this, I guess you could say, vitriol towards law enforcement. And I think this seething anger has boiled now to the surface to a point where not only is it dangerous, but now it's uncontainable. Before, you had the police and you had the authorities being able to arrest people and to keep people in check and to keep people in line and law and order. And now they're afraid to do so because of some of the actions of the state attorney in Baltimore, the mayor in Baltimore, what they've seen in Ferguson. And let's not forget that these flames of anti-hatred and racism, if you will, have been brought upon by, I would say, the President of the United States, the First Lady, Reverend Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, Malik Shabazz. All of these folks are out there doing what they can to incite this type of seething anger. And that's the dangerous part. It's not coming necessarily just from the people. It's being directed down from folks that shouldn't be doing it and that actually have the power in the community to get people to stop and to calm down. And they're not doing it. They're doing the opposite.
Well said, Josh. And then, of course, the other day, I don't know if our First Lady helps the situation in her address, talking about unaccommodating to minorities. I mean, that's just gas. Well, actually, what that is a grenade in the campfire.
I had the pleasure and the opportunity to go on live national television last week and literally call out the First Lady of the United States on her racist comments, not only at the Tuskegee University in Alabama graduation ceremony, but more importantly at the Whitney Museum in New York. And what she said there was just unbelievable, basically saying that people that, are in the arts and culture and cultural centers and museums, that minorities cannot appreciate the finer things as far as art and things like that. And she said that they would not be appreciated in a place like this. And look, coming from the First Lady to say something like that, what if there's a Picasso out there? What if there's another Van Gogh? And now they hear the First Lady of the United States say something like that. It's not exactly going to give them that ringing, enthusiasm to try to, encapsulate on their beliefs and on their talents as an artist. And I think that that's a terrible thing. She could have used that opportunity to use maybe even herself as an example that you can rise above poverty.
I think we're tired of this one-way conversation sometimes with these folks. Let me ask you this, Josh. It all stems from a subject called inequality, and it seems that the media is talking about inequality, but I'm not sure if the citizenship of the country thinks that's an issue. I mean, is there really an inequality out there?
I don't believe there is. I mean, look, last time I checked, we do have an African-American president. To say that all white people are racist, we wouldn't have an African-American president, number one. Number two, you have to understand that the left needs victims in order to stay in power. And so what they do is they use divisiveness, they use identity politics to their advantage to keep people separated into different sects and groups. That way they can control them more. And so the message out there has to be that you can't provide for yourself, that you're the victim, and that you can't rise above your level of society, and therefore you need our help. And if you come along with us, all we ask is that you obey us and that you vote for us, and we'll take care of you. And we know that that's just not the case. And thankfully, a lot of people, all types of minorities, have risen above that. They've been able to see the lies of the left, and they understand that the only people in life that's really going to help themselves and support themselves are themselves. Okay? Government is there maybe to help out here and there, but it's not supposed to be there as a cradle to grave type of situation in which you depend on it. And I think that that's the problem. We've got too many people depending on it. We've got too many people inside the wagon and not enough people pulling it.
Aren't we like at 50% right now, 51% that are on some kind of government subsidy?
Well, look, there was a reason a couple of years ago in 2012 that Newt Gingrich called Barack Obama the food stamp president. There's over 50 million people on food stamps. You've got 94 million people not in the workforce, the most since 1976, I believe. You've got 56 million women not working. You've got probably 10 million people on disability because their 99 months of unemployment ran out. Look, it's a disaster. Look, when America's second largest job creator a few years ago is Kelly Temp Services, you know that can't be by accident. And that's the sad part. I believe that a lot of this has been done intentional to keep people, quote unquote, on the government plantation. And that's the society that the left, covets, and that's what they want. And we've got a chance here, in the next 2 years or so to pick a new leader. And look, we saw what Jimmy Carter brought us. It was Ronald Reagan. What is Barack Obama going to bring us? Well, hopefully someone similar to that.
All right. I wish I had you about 2 hours, but let me just wrap it up. As you talk to people on your talk show, and you obviously get around in the media very well, and you do some terrific writing. By the way, your own personal website is Josh Bernstein, politicalwriter.com.
That is correct, yeah. Or
Okay.
you can just Google Josh Bernstein, radio talk show host, and I'm pretty sure you'll find 5 or 6 pages full of information on that as well.
All right, as we go into this election cycle, Josh, what are you sensing to be the number one issue that people are concerned about?
Well, obviously, I would say, like Carville said, it's the economy, stupid. It's jobs, of course. But ultimately, I think that it's the overall social change and the structure of America that is taking place. And I think that if people really want to get back on track, I always say that the conservatives should rename themselves the Preservative Party. In other words, preserve everything that's good about America, our customs, our values, our morals, our Christian Judeo principles, all that good stuff. But ultimately, I think what they're going to need to do is you have to understand the Democrats have a very weak bench, okay? You've got a 67-year-old former First Lady with a horrific record as the Secretary of State. We've got someone who's a habitual liar and has obviously done many, many things to hide her money and her, her ability to use the Clinton campaign initiative and all these different things that she's got, and destroying emails and 4 dead bodies in Benghazi. So for me, and I've said this in the past, I look at her as a completely flawed candidate. So now they have this O'Malley guy running into the race. He's younger, he's energetic, he plays the guitar. The last time the left fell in love with someone that played an instrument, that was Bill Clinton. So look, I think that he's more than likely going to be their nominee. Now, on the Republican side, I mean, you've got 900,000 people, it seems, at this point, running for president. There's a lot of rhinos in that race on our side, but there's also a couple of real good conservatives. So when the debates start, which to me is unbelievable, they're starting in August, but nonetheless, when the debates start and the people get to see them on the stage, on the big stage, and talking about the issues, hopefully a couple of those will start to rise to the top, and it'll weed out some of the rhinos. I know Jeb Bush hasn't necessarily declared yet, but him and Lindsey Grahamnesty, as I like to call him, and some of these others that are out there. And I think that, your dark horse in this race, believe it or not, if he actually jumps in, is Donald Trump. And the reason I say that is because he's pretty conservative, number one, and number two, he doesn't need to go out and eat fried Twinkies in Iowa and hold babies. He doesn't need the name recognition. This is somebody that is the Donald, and therefore could spend as much money as he wanted to, run ads in all of Obama's 57 states, and get his message out there. Everybody knows who he is. So I think he's a true dark horse if he jumps into the race. But ultimately, I'm hoping that it's someone that keeps 2 things that are absolutes, in my opinion. Number one, the Second Amendment. Without the Second Amendment, you don't have any other amendments.
Right.
And number two, who's going to finally control and stop the flow of illegal immigration into this country? Those are the 2 main issues that I see.
Okay. Josh, you're a delight. Look forward to having you back often. You're a live wire. I like it, man.
Anytime you want, any subject, doesn't matter what it is. I don't need a teleprompter or any note cards.
You're the man. Thanks, Josh. And again, don't forget to go to amac.us, amac.us, and check out those services as well. We'll be right back.